All right, so both Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid spoke to the media today about the return of running back Kareem Hunt after 5.5 years. Andy explained the process of how Kareem ended up back here, and Mahomes weighed in on how he's done as a person off the field since he got let go by KC back in 2018. So I've got to talk about that, several roster moves the Chiefs made today, including a new running back not named Kareem Hunt getting signed to the active roster that will most likely see playing time this Sunday. But first, how about those? All right, first up, Isaiah Pacheco was officially placed on injured reserve today, and while head coach Andy Reid was non-committal on a timeline to return for Pacheco, actually saying, quote, "We'll just see if it's this season or next season. We'll see how he does as he goes here." Well, hopefully it's not next season, and NFL insiders seem to think that Pacheco will still be able to return and play sooner rather than later. In fact, Ian Rappaport shared this afternoon that Pacheco underwent successful surgery today from Dr. Robert Anderson, a noted foot and ankle expert in Charlotte. And the good news here, per Ian's sources, are that there were no complications and no ligament issues, which is great news. He then still has his timeline to return for Pacheco being between 6 to 8 weeks. That would be much better than what Andy Reid said of Pacheco possibly not playing until next season. I would assume that Andy Reid simply doesn't want to give anyone false hope of a Pacheco return within that time frame, and he will continue to play it safe and allow the insiders and beat reporters to give timeline updates until Pacheco has actually progressed through his rehab and is about ready to go and get back on the field. And with Pacheco officially out on IR, the Chiefs made several more moves today worth mentioning. Before I get to that specifically, the Chiefs actually had 3 spots available on the 53-man roster, so they were taking up just 50 as of yesterday, and those were all made available because of 3 players. Running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire was placed on the NFI list, and they never filled his spot. Then Hollywood Brown and now Isaiah Pacheco were both placed on IR. Then KC also recently waived tight end Peyton Hendershot on September 16th from the 53, which was a little surprising considering they just traded for him from the Cowboys the week of roster cutdowns. Well, there's actually a smart reason why they did this. They traded Dallas for Peyton Hendershot in exchange for a conditional 7th-round pick. Well, since he wasn't on the 53-man roster for 5 games or one of the 46 players who dressed out for 3 games, the Chiefs actually get to keep their 2026 7th-round pick that was given up for him. It was a conditional pick, but that's what was given up for him in the trade, and since he didn't meet those conditions, they get it back. Now, some think Hendershot was waived because he pushed Roquan Smith in the Ravens game and cost the team a fine, even getting fined himself, but it was really just to save that 7th-round pick. It worked out, too, because Hendershot cleared waivers and officially signed to the practice squad today. So if the Chiefs management, coaching staff, whoever really had a problem with the fine from Hendershot, I don't think they would be bringing him back to the practice squad, but that's just how I'm seeing it as of right now. Another player they officially signed to the practice squad today was running back Kareem Hunt, who could be seen out at his first Chiefs practice in 5.5 years, wearing number 29. That is the same number defensive back Eric Scott Jr. is wearing. He's on the practice squad as well. So we will see what ends up happening there from a jersey number standpoint once Hunt gets called up to play in a game, which Andy Reid said could happen this week or within the next couple of weeks.
We'll get him in here and get some work, kind of get him back in the swing of playing as the game gets closer. We'll see how things go there, and we'll try to get him in a position where he's ready to play either this week, next week, or the following week. We'll just see how long it takes.
So a chance he could play in Atlanta?
Yeah, there's a chance, yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't seem too likely that Hunt will play this Sunday, or at least play much based on Andy's body language, but it's not impossible. Samaje Perine did something similar when he was first signed to the team a few weeks ago, though he didn't really play that much. Kareem knows some things from being in K on the terminology, which Andy didn't make it seem like would take him all that long, and maybe that's why we'll see him out there within the next couple of weeks. Now, I'll get to much more on Kareem Hunt in a moment because both Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes were asked more questions about him given the surprising reunion of Hunt and their history. I've also got to talk about another running back they just added to the active roster and will most likely dress out and see some sort of playing time this Sunday, maybe even over Kareem Hunt. But before I do, with the NFL season now off to the races, that means many of you, if you haven't already, will be going to some games to see the Chiefs live at Arrowhead or maybe some other team somewhere else. And I will actually be going to the Broncos-Chiefs game on November 10th. That takes place at noon, and I cannot wait. And that's where the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, and my special hookup with them comes right in. For everybody, you can use my code HBTC10 and get 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, whether you are a new customer or not. And this offer applies to any NFL game out there, as well as other sports like MLB, MLS, concerts, festivals, you name it. Code HBTC10 is going to get it done. And SeatGeek makes it easy for you, rating tickets on a scale of 1 to 10. Just look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. So take out your phone, open the SeatGeek app up, and add code HBTC10 to your account ASAP, because this offer is only available for a limited time. Lastly, it doesn't matter how many times you've bought tickets using SeatGeek before, because code HBTC10 is going to get you 10% off your next order regardless. All right, from here, let's talk about the rest of these roster moves the Chiefs made today, because with both Kareem Hunt and Peyton Hendershot being added to the practice squad, Casey actually had to make room for those two additions since the squad was full. So what they did was actually sign 2 players from the practice squad to the 53-man roster. That now has the practice squad full again, with 52 of 53 spots occupied on the Chiefs' active roster. So the 2 players they signed today were linebacker Cole Christensen and running back Keontay Ingram, again, both to the active roster. Christensen is a guy that knows the system as he enters his 3rd season with the team. He only played in 23 snaps last season, all on special teams, so we shall see if he dresses out at all on game day or not. Now, the next guy they signed to the roster, Keontay Ingram, will most likely suit up on Sunday evening and possibly even play some snaps against the Falcons. Andy Reid said that Keontay had a really good training camp and they felt comfortable with him moving up to the active roster. He's worked hard on the practice squad with the scout team, has grown, he's in all the meetings, and now his name and number is being called upon. This makes complete sense to me, as Keontay has been with the team for nearly a year now, signing with the practice squad last November, and he actually knows the system in theory better than any other running back available on the practice squad or the entire active roster for that matter. Remember, Steele is a rookie. Amani Bailey is on the practice squad as well, but he was just picked up this past offseason. Then Samaje Perine has only been here for a little bit, and then with Pop and CEH not available, this guy has more experience in the system than anybody else. Ingram was a 6th-round pick of the Cardinals in the 2022 NFL Draft, appearing in 20 games with Arizona. His college career hasn't really translated to the pro level, as he's averaged only 2.2 yards per carry in his 2 seasons with the Cardinals, so not great. However, the Cardinals were not a great team. They finished 4-13 in both of those seasons. So Ingram gets his chance to potentially get some work in this Sunday with a much better offensive line, and I presume will also feature an increased role of both Samaje Perine and Carson Steele. Anyway, with Kareem Hunt back, this is obviously a bit surprising to everybody. Well, here's what Andy had to say when asked about it today.
Just thought he needed a change of scenery and get some help and take care of business there. You know, we felt like he did that. He did a nice job in Cleveland, and we talked to the people there, and there were no issues there. So we felt okay by bringing him back. He's 29 years old now. Looks like he's grown up some.
So yeah, they felt like Hunt got the help he needed, had no issues while in Cleveland, with both coaches and the GM speaking highly of him. So they felt okay about bringing him back given those factors, and also because he seemed to learn from that incident and has grown.
You know, I think people deserve a second chance if they've done something to work on the first part of it.
Well, a second chance is indeed what Kareem Hunt is getting. Plus, Andy also noted that Patrick Mahomes has stayed friends with him over the years. Hunt either was in his wedding or attended it, and they were drafted in the same draft class back in 2017. So that helped also. Mahomes echoed as much today when asked about Kareem as he spoke to the media, saying he's close friends with him and he's learned and become a better person during his time talking about Hunt with Cleveland. At the end of the day, he's rooting for Kareem off the field first and foremost, with football always being secondary.
Everybody has friends that make mistakes, and obviously some are bigger than others. But at the same time, you want to make the person better. You want to see them taking the right steps to become a better person for themselves, their family, and the rest of society. And so I think you've seen that with Kareem. And so I've stayed in touch with him just to see how he's doing, how his family's doing, everything like that. And he's been able to carve out a great career in the NFL. But, I mean, you've seen he's been able to keep his nose clean and be a better person, and that's what you want in order to make everybody better people.
So Mahomes and Andy both like what they've seen from Kareem off the field over the years since his incident, but also on the field. Mahomes believe he's a guy that can contribute on this team, even though there's others available to help carry the load with Pacheco out. And yeah, Kareem may have had a career low in yards per carry last season. I think it was 3 yards a carry. But he also had a career-high 9 rushing touchdowns. And Andy actually said that Hunt played through a portion of last year with a groin injury that ended up needing surgery after the season. It was a sports hernia surgery to repair a ruptured adductor. So he wasn't quite himself last year due to injury, yet looks great as of right now based on what they've seen from him during his workout and physical. Of course, even a healthy 29-year-old Kareem Hunt won't replace the juice Pacheco brought to the room, but Veach has definitely been trying his best to add pieces as injuries have happened, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire aims to work on his mental health. He's on the NFI list right now as he's dealing with those PTSD flare-ups. Well, in spite of the injuries the Chiefs are dealing with, they are still favorites to win this Sunday. You can see the graphic here. Sunday Night Football against the Falcons, with most analysts, all but one on this graphic, picking KC to win. And I'm going to drop my preview video of this upcoming game later this week, but for now, you guys got to let me know your thoughts on the running back room and what things could look like this Sunday, given the fact that Pop is on IR, Ingram is now on the roster, Hunt is on the practice squad, Samaje Perine is getting more acclimated, and Carson Steele is also ready to rumble. Who do you think sees the most snaps this week? And also, let me know your thoughts on Kareem Hunt back, given his past, and what both Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes had to say. Let me know all that in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those